All right, well, Vader here. This little project that I had to get involved with, and I'm not a heating and cooling guy. I do know the basics, and I do know the mechanisms of heat and cooling and how they work and how they're supposed to be wired and all that good stuff. But this is a mobile home furnace. It's a Coleman Presidential Series, I guess, 1984 model. Has no smarts to it. It's all basically thermal switches and a transformer. There's no contactors. It doesn't do. It's heat only. It doesn't do air. It could be set up to do central air, but he has window air conditioners, which work just fine. But anyways, there was a problem with this furnace. Somebody had gotten into it and rigged the total dickens out of this thing. And right now I know it looks like a monster's mess in the first place, but you got to remember what it looked like before I got here. I had to make this thing work. So I had to basically undo it. There was 2 transformers hooked onto here. In fact, I'm going to shut this off. 2 transformers on here. This one, and this is bad, by the way. It got cooked somehow. And then there was this one here. This transformer here. And I think this transformer is fine. But there's a primary and a secondary on a transformer. And I marked it T1, transformer 1, and this one was marked transformer 2 because I wasn't sure. I marked them so I could kind of have an understanding first why was there 2 transformers. And I wanted to mark them and separate them because I had to figure out, okay, why did they do it this way? It didn't work. The furnace didn't work the way it was set up. Fan switch. And you know, these are high and low limit switches. One's a fan, the other one's for the plenum. You know, they both kind of work in unison. Has to reach 180 degrees before it kicks the fan on. You know, before the blower kicks on when it calls for heat. So, anyways, then you got the 24 volts on the transfer on the gas valve. But they had a cluster here, and I had to kind of start from nowhere. This is the wiring diagram of the furnace. Again, it's a 7600 series. I don't know if I can focus in on that or not. Sorry guys, I don't think I can. But anyway, it's a 7600 presidential furnace, and this is heat only. So I took the diagram and laid it out, and there was actually supposed to be, right here it shows a block, and this is where the go-sindas and the jumpers and all that kind of stuff is done, where everything's kind of, you know, linked together so they can tie these things together. And I'm like, well, that's gone, obviously, not sitting here anywhere, and it wasn't here when I got here. So I'm looking at it going, what the Sam Hill. So I said, okay, I'm going to simplify it then. So I simplified it. And my simplified drawing is here. This drawing here. You got the 110 coming into the furnace off the switch, which is right there. And it's got to power, you know, it's got to go through and it's got to power up the fan motor eventually. But it's got to go through these the fan switches and the low limit switch. You know, you got a high and a low limit switch, and it has to come off from calling for heat, which is the red and the white wire, off the thermostat, and it's got to be fed through a transformer because it's got to, you know, I got to have, you know, the 110 primary, and then the 24 volt secondary, which has got to make all this thing happen for the gas valve to do its job, etc., etc. And there's rules that apply for a furnace, you know, for heat to happen. And because this doesn't have any smarts, There's no logic board to control all kinds of other goody stuff and crap. It's just basically heat on, heat off. So I simplified it. Fan switch is L1 and the low limit is L2. Well, they have to work in unison. One's got to be happy with the other. And so when I call for heat, turns the burner on, ignites the burner, cooking, gets the plenum hot. Sensors say, okay, it's 180 degrees, turn the blower on. Open the switch, close the switch so it turns the blower on. And that's what it does. When the thermostat senses the heat setting, it shuts down, turns the flame off. But now it's got to cool the plenum before the fan will shut off. So when that gets happy, and that one's happy, the fan will turn off. That means the plenum's at a safe temperature, safe cool down temperature where the blower can shut down. Well, this transformer, number one, this was, I think, the main transformer, to be honest with you. This transformer was wired wrong. They had the primary on the secondary side. Well, guess what happens when you put 110 volts on a 24 volt secondary? Bye. So that transformer is El Junco. So I'm going to throw it away. Not doing me any good in life. So I had transformer number 2. And this one here, again, was the same way. These are the secondary, red and blue. And these are the primary, 110, black and white. They were wired in this also with this other transformer. And don't ask me why or how. I had no clue. I was like, number one, there's 110 sitting on these again. There was 110 sitting on the primary or secondaries of the other transformer. So I said, okay, don't understand why, don't care, not going to happen in life today. So I disconnected it, got it out of there. I had another transformer that I had, brand new, it's nothing wrong with it. Because yes, I do keep these kind of in stock. But anyways, I said, I have a primary and I've got a secondary. Secondary, I know, has to feed the call for, this is 24 volts, call for heat, the white, call for heat from the thermostat. This is your stat line. There's a blue and a green, that's used for air conditioning and fan on, permanent all time, which is green. These aren't needed because this is heat only. So I made some changes. This blue wire coming off the secondary, okay, is for the thermostat valve, okay? And I don't like that fitting. I'm going to crimp that a little bit. Okay, the other one, the black wire, is the other half. And they got it jumper related. Not sure why, but I'm going to make a change for that too. But anyhow, after I got it all done, verified my, because again that block's missing, verified my, in fact I think it went into here, right here actually. I didn't think I'd see that before, but I bet that came right there. This is all the internal, and this was the output, one to the furnace fan, and two of the relay, I bet, and stuff. But anyways, the low and high temp, so I got it all put together, got it the way it's supposed to be, once I figured it out, and I got to clean this up. I'm going to clean it up thing. I'm not going to leave it like this, but I wanted to kind of show what I've done and what I had to do. I should have showed what it looked like before, but I took it from what was all of this stuff in there, wires, a contactor, a couple of transformers, okay, to this. One transformer, because that's all it's needed, and your 110 coming in, common and hot, and how they're supposed to be fed, what they're supposed to feed, okay, etc., coming down 24 volts off the secondary, which eventually turns this dude on. So, got it all done, simplify the drawing, use a simplified drawing, regards to how my 110 and my 24 volt work, etc., etc., to get my high and low limit fan switches to run and make everything happy. And I took it from that to actually kind of like that, really, in a sense. And I turned power on and come over here and said, well, I'm either going to have something or nothing. Turn the fan on auto, set the temperature, put it on heat, told it to call for heat. The house was 43 degrees when I walked in here this morning. It is now 67 degrees. And she had a hard time starting because it had to, the fan switch was like cold still, so it would, cycle. Oh, and that's the other thing too. They had it on the black wire. This is a 3-speed motor. They had it on the black wire. That's 4 AC. Why this thing needs a 3-speed motor, I think it was switched out, and it was what they had, because it just can be a single-speed motor. And I put it on the blue, which is the medium speed, which is what it's supposed to be. In fact, you can see it's not even the right fan, because the blower and the squirrel cage here, because the aluminum tape here, they sealed up the plenum area. But anyways, that's what I've done so far, and I got her running. She's working, called for heat, and works like it's supposed to. I'm happy. I'm going to clean it up. But anyways, again, I'm not a heat and cooling guy, but I do know enough to make something work, especially something that's this simple. I understand the inducer motors. I understand all the air switches, air pressure switch stuff. I understand all that stuff, and I work on what I can. I do what I can. It's expensive to get heat and cooling guys out here, and in mobile homes they really want to play with you. So these things are so basic, it's not even funny. But anyhow, thermocouple. I know the thermocouple's good. I replaced that, I think, last year or year before. And every 4 years, you should replace them anyhow. And maybe next year I'll have to replace it unless it goes bad. But anyways, well, my son's got heat now, so everything's golden. I'm going to wrap this up, tidy it up, put the covers back on, and we should be happy here. So that's it for now. But that's my latest project I'm on, guys. And again, this is a Coleman Presidential Series mobile home furnace, and there's it's really a simple furnace. It's nothing much to her, off pilot run. Again, your 24 volts. I got to fix that crimp real quick here, but thermocouple right here. This is the 24 volts coupling there. Goes to the white wire, which calls for heat. Red wire is your 24 volts from the thermostat to off the secondary. It's pretty simple. I mean, a very simple, basic furnace deal. If your furnace doesn't kick on, if it doesn't call for heat, one of the easiest things to check for is come right into your furnace. Make sure before the stat, and you tie these together and see if you got ignition. The flame will come on, but if the blower doesn't come on, it could be a fan switch or a limit switch. Make sure you got 110 here and 24 volts here. So a few things you can look for. You got 110 here. It's your primary, 24 volts. Off the secondary, the transformer is just a step down. That's all it is, AC. Just a step down transformer. It's got to feed 24 volts. I need some 24 volt supply to things. And through these switches, that's when it all occurs. When it utilizes the correct voltages to do the correct jobs, to feed the blower motor off the fan switch, and 24 volts to feed the gas valve, turn the gas valve, open the gas valve, so it'll give it gas. So it's got flame. So that's basically it, man. So this Vader out.